Already got people following me on Instagram.
Right on.
I love
See,
it.
really love it.
Just getting alerts.
See, yeah, time well spent, right?
I got a YouTube channel too, Probate House Guy. Go check it out.
Check Probate House Guy. Laura, put that in the chat.
I am. I'm already doing it.
Look at that, Brad. We're just like promoting you left and right, my friend.
I say we get started.
I say we get started too. All right. So welcome everybody. I'll introduce myself first. My name is Jeff Sweet. I am the National Sales Director for this company, U.S. Probate Leads. I have Laura Martin, who is Operations Extraordinaire for our company. This company wouldn't be in existence if it wasn't for this. She does a lot, and she's well respected in the real estate world. What, Laura? Ran a couple of offices, right, in the olden days?
Yeah, I ran a Remax office for about 16 years.
16, there you go.
I have a background with Pulte Homes, David Weekley Homes, and I also did title work for oil and gas leasing and mineral search. So
Fantastic.
I am that person.
And then, of course, our special guest today is Mr. Brad Woodall. He has been a customer of this company since 2018. Brad, introduce yourself, my friend.
Yeah, hey guys. So I'm Brad Woodall. I've been an active real estate investor for 10 years now. And I'm also I've been a licensed agent for 9 years now, although I would say investing is my primary focus. And like Jeff said, I've been doing probate deals since about 2018. At this point, I was doing the math earlier this year. I've made over $1 million off of probate deals alone. I do a lot of other deal sources as well. I mean, I've closed hundreds and hundreds of deals at this point.
Look,
Pretty much
if you
done
don't
it
mind me
all.
asking then, Brad, since you brought that up, as far as what other types of deals are coming down your pike that you've been able to close?
My primary focus has always been online and
okay.
And direct mail for the most part. And in recent years, it's only direct mail probate. I don't do any of the other list types anymore.
Okay, so right now your direct mail focus has just been the probate record.
Just been probate. Yep. I used to do all the things, and you know, I before real estate, I was a data analyst in corporate America, and so I'm kind of an analytical guy. I've actually built a probate analysis model for my data and all that stuff. But I kind of looked at it and realized that like probate was my best performing one from an ROI perspective. So I kind of just, you know, it's like if you've ever read the book, The Pumpkin Plan by Mike Michalowicz, you got to kind of trim the prize pumpkin farmer trims off all the dead wood off of it, so all the energy can go to the one that's performing the best to grow that prize pumpkin. That's kind of what I've done with my business, right? I've trimmed out all the other stuff that's kind of performing and focused on, you know, one or two things. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you very much for coming and joining us this afternoon. And you're in the good old state of Georgia, correct?
Yeah. I've done deals outside of Georgia, but primarily I live about 40 miles north of Atlanta in Canton, Georgia, and I do deals really all over North Georgia, even some into South Georgia. You know, I subscribe to like 12 different counties with you guys, I think, all the way down into Middle Georgia and everywhere in between. So,
well, again, thank you very much for taking time out of your day. Brad has a hard stop at 1 o'clock Eastern, so we will make this efficient. We're not going to rush it, but an hour is plenty of time. We may be done in 45 minutes. So essentially what we do as a company, for those who don't know us, we've been providing probate data. And I'll share my screen here. I've got a presentation. I'll just kind of pull up as Brad talks. I'll like minimize it, but let me share my screen real quick. Go up to here, share screen, share. All right. Enable editing. Got more people in the waiting room here. And slideshow from the beginning. Okay. All right. That's you, isn't it, Brad?
Yeah, it's a terrible picture of me.
I'll thank Z. Z is our guy that does our creatives, and he was able to get the stuff offline, for us to
Sure.
show everyone.
Obviously, without your permission.
Yeah.
That's on my
You can sue
website,
us
actually.
later, Brad. Okay. All right. So again, he's a good old state of Georgia boy.
I don't know how to put it on the speaker.
So anyway, note takers allow. All right. So again, a little bit about the company. We have been doing this data for a better part of 20 years. And we always collect recently filed cases all over the country, right? From Georgia to California, Texas to New York. I mean, we cover pretty much all the major metros for this data across the country. There's
If I pull this out, will it change the speaker?
There's very few places that we don't get into or not a part of or collecting data from. And again, we've been helping people out and people making a ton of money. Like Brad has said already, he's already made at the beginning part of this year when I first talked to him about a presentation, I used to he made $1 million, with our data. Like, right on. That's a great success story in itself. So next, there we go. All right. So real estate business is people business. Again, this is introducing Brad Woodall, full-time investor, and you also have a license, right? You can list properties, right, Brad?
Yeah, I'm a licensed agent. Have been for 9 years now.
What kind of mix are you seeing? Because I know when we had David Pinnell, he'd done like 20 plus deals when he came on in May. Is it a pretty good mix as far as listings versus cash offer world?
Well, it really comes down to how you focus and how you market and what your copy is like and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
My primary focus is not to go for the listing. My primary focus is, we buy your house, we buy it cash, we buy it fast, we buy it, that sort of stuff.
Right.
And then some of those leads do convert to listings. And usually what I'll do is I refer those out to, I've got a few rock star agents around Atlanta that I refer those the leads out to, and I just collect a referral commission off of it.
Fee. There you go.
Yep.
Just hand over the lead, let them do all the work.
Yeah, I don't like doing retail stuff personally. I don't care for it. I list my own flips and stuff like that. I'm the listing agent on all my stuff, but
so your own personal flips.
Yeah, all the ones that we flip and then we resell, I'm the listing agent on those. But
right on.
But for the most part, I don't really like the retail business. I don't know. Sometimes people annoy me. Even as a listing agent on my flips, people annoy me when buyers get picky about stupid stuff. I'm like, for real? Like, come on.
Well,
get a life.
How is the connection? Because again, you've been working this niche with this probate type data. What is your go-to, or how is your relationships built? And are they an easier connection versus your standard retail customer?
It's a different animal, right? Probate's a different animal. Someone has died, right? You have to be very, like, treat the situation very kindly. You can't just kind of go in like it's just another property, just a number. No, like I said, it's a people business. You have to treat them like people. You got to understand that they've lost someone. You got to understand the grieving that they're going through. A lot of times it's someone close to them. Sometimes it's not. There's a lot more dynamics to the probate deals than there are to like other lead types, and at least what I've learned. So
it is definitely I like to classify this niche. It's like a relationship building niche. It really is, right? And not only because they're going through some processes, whatever, they need help here, they need help there, still grieving, whatever the case may be. And as a local, emphasizing localized agent and or investor in the communities, right? They know, like, and trust, right? Get to know them, right? Meet them at the properties, meet them for coffee, meet them for, develop that local relationship with these folks, if at all possible. Now, you are going to have some PRs that are out of state, right, Brad?
Yep. Oh yeah, some of my best deals have come from out of state PRs for sure.
Okay.
But I wouldn't
And
say
you never actually even meet them folks, right?
Yeah, no, we just go to the property. We talk to them on the phone. We'll close
Yeah.
the deal over the phone. They'll just, a lot of times that,
Love that.
the neighbor has a key or something and we'll go over and look at it. And, some of the most profitable deals have come from that, but I wouldn't say volume wise, it's out, like it's kind of,
Mhm.
I've done the analysis on it. It's not, I mean, they're very profitable, but I wouldn't focus only on out of state
Only. So
PR.
yeah, you want a good mix. You want to be able
Yeah.
to have local folks that you can meet at the property face to face,
Yep.
shake their hands. And then if you got the virtual one, if you can send them over contracts, virtually, never actually have to physically shake their hand.
And we segment the list out too. So I segment my list between
Good to know.
what I call out of area. So I use a tool called Map Site, and we actually geolocate the address of the PR, and we geolocate the address of the decedent. And then I have a distance calculation function that I run in my data, and I actually parse out, I want to say my break point is like 20 miles. Depends on your metro area, right? Like 20 miles in Atlanta metro is like an hour drive, right?
Right.
So I kind of look at it that way, as like, okay, the further away it is, the more pain in the butt it is for the PR to get to the property,
Sure.
right? So my copy in my direct mail is different to those two different groups. I'd stress more in the out of area stuff, talking about remote closings available,
Right.
as is, not having to deal with it, tenant situation, like that sort of stuff. I stress that in my copy on my cards, compared to like the local stuff. I don't really focus as much on that.
So you're big into the mail campaigns. Do you also market to these folks doing via phone or any other channels?
I used to. Early on, I did some cold calling and stuff, and
Yeah.
some people are very successful with it. I have to be successful at cold calling, you almost have to build like a little mini call center, because it's all about just numbers. And I have no desire to like manage all of those people. And then you're always hiring new cold callers constantly.
Well,
There's constant
and
turnover.
I know this, Brad, because before, actually, I still have my call center. I'm more focused in on data lately, but I still have 5 to 7 cold callers,
Right.
that I are hired. They work from home. They pound the phones. It's American staff. So, anybody wants to talk about call center world, you can.
I used to
is
work in call
something
center.
that I can help with as well.
Yeah, when I was in college, I was a telemarketer for MBNA, and then I did customer service for Chase for years. And so I've been on the phones. I know what it's like to be on the phone.
Yeah. And I've always been a kind of a phone guy, right? I do sales, right? That's just what I do. But I used to, in my younger years, go into an office setting, get on the phones, pound the phones, 100 phone calls, 200 phone calls a day, right? But I make, you make good commission with good companies. So there is that benefit of working in that quote quote telemarketing space, which has gotten a bad name over the years. Yeah, again, I own a call center. I don't like the scams that have been out there, that just take people's money and give them nothing in return. Hey, we digress. We're talking about
hey, I'm going to interject just real quick. So, Brad, we have a couple of questions. I know someone wanted to know how you mine your data, which this will appear throughout the conversation that we're going to be having today. And then maybe at the end, you can summarize demonstrate what you might do with a probate record and then turn it into a lead. And then the other one is, do you have partners, i.e. lawyers or someone in the probate industry that you work with? And then Logan, I'll get to your question after we go over those.
Yeah. So in terms of mining the data, I mean, I take the data that I get from you guys. I've gotten the data from you guys for years. I have literally, I think at this point I've compiled, I probably have close to 80,000 rows of data in my probate database
Wow.
that I've built over the years. And I only delete data I only delete the record if they ask me to take them off the list. And then after a certain number of years, I've actually analyzed and determined that there's diminishing returns after so many years that there's no
Where
point
do
in
you find
mailing
out the number of years, Brad? I mean, in your own personal experience, is it 2 years, 3 years, 5,
them. 4 years is my cutoff. After
4?
4 years, I stop
Interesting. Good to
altogether.
know.
After 2 years, I slow it down drastically.
Okay.
Because what I found is that as time goes on, there's a lot of people that like are race. It's like a race to the punch at the beginning, right? Everybody, these people are getting like a gazillion postcards in those first 90 days to 6 months.
Yep.
And then over
Yep.
time that starts to taper off and
does
taper
dwindle.
off. So my best deals come from the older stuff, like from people who filed probate a year ago or 6 months ago or whatever, because you got to understand these people also, like, they're dealing with a lot. Like I don't mean to make everyone feel sad, but I lost my son a year and a half ago. And for
Oh,
months I was numb, right? I didn't know, some days I didn't know what day it was, right? So you got to understand the grief process. That some people don't have the mental energy to process filing for probate, much less dealing with the rest of the estate.
right.
It takes everyone a different amount of time to sort through that. Some people it's a week, some people it's 6 months, some people it's 2 years, right?
Yeah.
You never know. So you just have to direct mail. At least direct mail is a consistency game. It's just, you got to hit them at that right time. And that right time when they are ready to make that life decision. If you're the only person still marketing to them, guess who they're going to call? They're going to call you, because
Right.
everybody
So,
else gave up. a long
question
time.
with that, because I've been talking about a mailer program now for a number of years, and so your program, is it every 3 months they get something from you, every 6 months? I mean, do you straggle them out over time? How often are you doing the mail campaign?
So I have it all split up into different things. So obviously the earlier stuff, they get mailed a little bit more frequently. As time goes on, the mailings get less and less. Also,
Right.
depending on, like I mentioned, I segment the list based on out of state, out of area
Yeah.
sort of stuff. And then we also scrub our list every single month. I used to use this and it was so fast and so efficient. I had this little Zillow scrubber bot, and then that one stopped working. And then I had a Redfin one I used for years. And like 4 months ago, that one stopped working. They closed off the API. So now I have to use PropStream to scrub it out, which is expensive. And it's a pain in the
It is
butt.
expensive.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I scrub it out every month, and I delete any of the decedent last addresses that have sold, and I do a 90-day look back. So basically, because there may be a straggler that like sold 90 days ago but doesn't get updated in the records until last month, right? So I always do a
Yeah.
90-day look back. Anything that's sold in the last 90 days, they get
Okay.
deleted off the list. But
Yeah,
everything else stays.
with the whole new, the AI world, like hopefully, for your marketing strategy,
Yep.
that hopefully get something to come down the pipe. You need to have somebody just create it for you, Brad. That's
Yeah, well, because of my background, I was a database guy. I was an SQL guy for years in corporate America. I know how to build databases, Oracle, Teradata, SQL Server.
nice.
Like that's how my brain works, because I did it for a long time in corporate America. So I just build my own stuff. But for somebody who doesn't understand that, yeah, you may want to use some other person to do it, because there's no such thing as perfect data, like no such thing. And if you're striving for perfect data, I'm here to tell you it ain't gonna ever happen. You're always gonna have to scrub your data, always. No matter how good your data source claims to be, there will always be issues with it, always. So
Good to know.
yeah,
So
even you
mail
guys.
time. So let's say I give you the list in September.
Yep.
And you're going to mail it within a month or two. Then
Yep.
when does the second mail piece go out? So you got to lead day one. So you send them a mailer. When would the second mailer go out?
So this has changed over time in market conditions of stuff. Right now, the earlier stuff is about 45 to 60 day cadence.
Okay.
It used to be a 30-day cadence.
Hmm.
It's changed as the market's changed. I'm I want and looking at trends into that. Like you, Mark, we all,
Mail 90.
probably 45, 60 days after the
45 to
first,
60 days. Okay.
if they're new on the list. But if
Yeah.
they've been on the list for longer, then they get mailed less frequently.
Less. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
I may the stuff that's 2 to 4 years, I may only have to mail them twice in a year. And what I found with those, I'm the only one mailing them at that point after 2 years. Nobody else is spending the money to mail these people, but I'm still I've had so many people like, hey, you were the only piece. We kept getting your mail every so many months, and we were ready to sell now because they had a tenant or their sister was living in the house or whatever. Now they're ready to sell, and I'm the only person marketing to them, and boom, I get the deal. I don't have any competition, so I don't have to play that bidding war game. So, you know.
Yeah, I had a past call center client that had purchased data from us, and we did the phone calls. And she touched base with me earlier beginning part of this year, and it was an appointment that we had set for her like over a year.
Right.
And then it eventually sold. So she stayed on top of it, made the deal work, right? And just off of quality appointment that we had set for. Yep. So we've got, as Brad can attest here, guys, we have probably one, if not the best data for the real estate community. I've been told time and time again, Jeff, your data far exceeds all other type of data that we get. Now, we don't get hundreds and thousands of records, in small pockets of area, right? And the data that we do get it monthly, but it's not like we send you 1,000 or 2,000 records like you can get from some of those other sources, right? Other sources, cheaper data maybe, but the quality that we provide for the number of records that we get every month, as Brad, again, he's saying, man, this is good data. We've always got a good cancellation policy. We have a subscription model, and I've got some specials that we'll kind of touch on a little bit at the end of the presentation. But again, we love our customers, and we love to help our customers too.
And I've added and removed counties as time because I'm always analyzing stuff. There have been certain counties that I've nixed marketing to because I realized there was no ROI for that specific county, and then some, like you mentioned, some of the other providers. I mean, at the end of the day, kind of everybody, like everyone's grabbing the probate filings, right? Like there's no secret that, right? You're just going down to the courthouse, or maybe it's online. Some of them are online. Some of them you still got to go in place. But some of these, at least I've found some of these data providers like, oh, we send you data weekly. I'm going to fill you in on something. I've done the analysis on this. I built a whole model on it off of 70,000 rows of data. Getting it within a week doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter.
Nobody said that.
You're not getting any deals really in the first 30 days anyways. Like it's just I have data to prove it, to show that there is no ROI on it. There's no point. There's really no point. So you guys doing it monthly is fine. There's no reason to get it any quicker than that, in my experience, based on the data.
Yeah, I've had potential customers in the past. Well, why can't you just send me leads every single day? Like, well, I'm sorry, it's not set up that way. If you want to go to the courthouse every single day and go pull your own data, there you go. It's there for you. It's public information, guys. It really is, right? But
I'm going to add to that. So early on, when I started doing this, and this, as you grow and you scale, there are certain counties in my area that are available online. And I had a VA, and his entire job was literally to go and pull this data and put it in a spreadsheet and essentially present it in the same fashion that I buy it from you.
Right.
But I got to a certain point in time, as I continued to scale and add more and more counties, it was actually cheaper for me to buy the data from you than to pay and manage my VA, because I had to manage him, right? I had to make sure he was doing things right and all that. It was cheaper and easier for me to just buy that same data from you guys than it was for me to pay him to do it for me. there's a break point in it, right? When you're smaller, it makes sense. Maybe pay an MBA to do it. When you're bigger, buy it from the provider. It's cheaper. So, yep.
Agreed.
So,
all right, so again, I'm sorry,
there was another question in here about like probate attorney partners.
Yes.
Yeah,
and then we'll talk on a few other things.
So I have probate attorney partners around Atlanta. I also use y'all's data to build mailing lists to market to probate attorneys, because the probate attorney that filed the probate is also in your data. You've got the name, you got the firm name, you've got the phone number. Sometimes there's an email address. And I actually take that data and compile it. And then what I do is I basically send, I send let's call them high dollar marketing pieces, because there's a list is significantly smaller, right? But so I can spend more money, and that particular probate attorney is going to probably generate me 5-10 deals over time versus the one record for the one PR, right? I'm only going to buy one house from them more than likely. But from a probate attorney, I might buy multiples. So I take your data that you provide me and I use it twofold. I use it to market to the PRs, and then I also use it to market to the probate attorneys. I look for the ones that are, I kill all the high volume ones, because I call those the, like probate mills. I don't want to do business with the probate mill that's doing a gazillion probate cases per year and they've got 15 attorneys on staff. I'm not interested in working with them. I'm looking for the attorney outfit that's got it's just him or her, or they maybe have got 2 attorneys on staff. I'm looking for the ones that are filing, 3 or 4 or 5 a year, let's say. I'm also getting rid of the onesie twosies that maybe you see they've only filed 1 probate case in the last year, because that's probably like their cousin who's like a real estate attorney and doesn't really do probate, but he's filing a probate case for them because they know him. So I kind of pick the ones in the middle and I send specialty marketing mail pieces to them. I've got this right here. It's like it's called Steve in the Misfit House. And it's like a little thing. It's like a story that I used ChatGPT to like write this little story.
Did you really?
It's a comic strip, right? And it's just catchy mail pieces to get their attention, because I need to get past the gatekeeper to have the gatekeeper forward this to the attorney, or maybe there isn't a gatekeeper, but usually at an office, there's always a gatekeeper, the secretary or whatever. I got to catch their attention and I got to get them to call me. And if I can get them on the phone, I can hopefully build a relationship. And if we build that relationship, then that'll maybe pay off in 5 or 10 deals over time versus 1. So
you've got somebody that's raised their hand. So Jose, go ahead and unmute. And Laura, let's get into these questions that are now popping up on the online chat. Thank you everybody for putting things in the chat. We're here to answer questions. Brad answer questions, myself, Laura. So Jose, you got your hand raised. What's up, bud?
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Question for Brad. You were talking about being selective to which probate attorneys you want to market it to. As you mentioned, you don't want to, you want to pick the middle of that list, as you mentioned. How did you determine that?
So I take that data and I put it in Excel, and I actually, if you don't know how to do this, I do a pivot table on the data, and I basically take the attorney name. We'll kind of normalize it because sometimes it's entered wrong and it might be spelled wrong. So you might get 3 records for John Smith that are all spelled slightly differently or whatever. And then I count the number of cases that they do per year. So I basically, like, if you were to look at my pivot table, it's got the years across the top, it's got the attorney name down the side, and then I've got count of filings, and that'll tell me how many they filed. And I look at ones that have been for at least 2 years consistently filing. I think it's like between 5 and like 10 cases a year is what I pull from my data. And obviously that data is a snapshot of the counties that I subscribe to. But I can see that this person is filing multiple cases per year. They're probably a probate attorney, and they're not just some random attorney filing 1 probate case, right? Or they're not a probate mill that's filing like a gazillion. That's their whole business, is just cranking out probate, right? You can't build you probably can, but it's a lot easier to build a personal relationship with the small volume attorney than it is the big probate mill.
Now, Deb comes with a question for us, Brad. So do you only send the postcards, or do you do traditional mailer as well?
I've always only done postcards just because of the volume that I do. It
Right.
just gets really expensive to do letters. They both work, right? Letters work, postcards work. They all work, right?
Right.
It's a
I've
matter of
always, me personally, now again, because of, maybe because I'm a consumer as well, if I get a piece of junk mail, if it's gonna go to garbage, but if it's a postcard, at least you pick it up, right? You
Yep.
look at a house, right? And you say, oh, I am not going to throw this one away because it might be useful for me in the future. And they set it off to the side. If they're in that mindset of selling property, right?
Yep.
Versus a letter that may or may not even get open. That's just my own personal take on that. But letters, I've known people who just swear by letters. I mean, David Pinnell, he put a whole series of actual letters together, right? That he sends off. So
the secret is it all works. You just have to be consistent with it.
yes.
And you got to understand, you really need to learn about copywriting a little bit. Take some copywriting. There's so many things out there on copywriting. You got to be able to write like kind of catchy copy because you got to catch their attention. You got to get them to read it. And then once you got to get them to read it, you got to get them to call you. Right. And they're different levels, right? It's different parts of the funnel. And you got to kind of understand that. Letters can catch people's attention. You can do a one-off weird envelope. And a lot of the mail houses have these, they'll put them in these catchy envelopes to get the letter opened. Right. And then you read it. And then, you know, so you just got to kind of understand that. And then I change up my cards too over time, multiple times a year, because that way people sort of get numb to the same one over and over and over again. I'm still mailing the same person over and over again, but I maybe will send them. I think you included some of the ones I gave you. There's like one with like donuts on. I'm trying to get just, what is this? You know, I'm trying to get them to, when they open their mail, be like, what is this? And get them to look at it rather than just throw it in the trash. Right.
Okay, Laura, what are the questions do we have out there?
So, Brad, do you have experience working with any probate or estates that were in foreclosure?
Oh yeah,
Anything
lots
like
of them.
that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of them. We actually, I'm closing a deal here in a couple weeks that was, it was we had to probate it, and it was in foreclosure. And fortunately, we got the sale postponed. We reached out to the foreclosing attorney and said, "Hey, look, I actually had my real estate attorney. I'm in Georgia. We're an attorney state for our closings. My attorney reached out to the foreclosing attorney and said, "Hey, look, man, like I know you guys have the auction on this date. I've got a buyer. We're prepared to close, but we've determined that we're going to have to probate this estate. It's going to take, 4 to 6 weeks to probate it. My buyer's good. I've closed hundreds of deals with the guy. I have no concern that he's not going to perform on this transaction. Would you guys be willing to postpone the foreclosure so we can get this probate done?" And
Interesting.
you can get it done. Some of the attorneys, the big houses that do a lot of them, they'll probably tell you no, and they'll rather just send it to auction. But it just depends. But
And do you still mail to the surviving spouse if she's still living in the home? Do you?
I do.
We have some that won't.
Right.
Some of our customers, they just choose not to. So
I do, because for me the amount of time it takes for me to go scrub out the surviving spouse data, it's the same that goes like my data is not perfect when I scrub the sales every month, and maybe it shows that the property sold, but it actually just transferred to the son or the daughter. For me, I've gotten to the scale that I used to do this. I had my VA once a month go back and like, okay, here's our deleted list. Now I want you to go through these one by one and make sure that we're not deleting stuff. But it got to a certain scale where it's like, it's not worth my time to do that anymore. Am I sending an extra? I'm spending an extra, $500 on extra pieces of mail that I shouldn't. Sure. But to me, it's just a necessary expense, because the amount of time I'm going to spend trying to scrub that data out is going to cost me way more than that $500 in extra mail. So
now Oren is asking a question. Yes, we get the contact information of the PRs, names, addresses, phone numbers, and emails. We get about 90% range of the phones, maybe 70-75% of an email. That is
now the PR is different from air data.
It is
air
different.
data is a list of who we find when we do further research at the courthouse. The personal rep is going to be your first initial contact. and they are the ones that have been assigned and appointed
Right.
to oversee the estate, all the
Okay,
properties.
I mean, so we can, as a company, get additional information. It triples your cost, right? And if you want to pay triple and get a couple of extra heirs that may or may not even be a key contact for you ever, right? I'm not going to downplay the factor of getting heir data. Don't get me wrong, but in the real estate arena, the PRs are going to be your go-to anyway.
They're the
Right.
ones that sign on the dotted line for the
They're the
sale
ones.
anyways.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So
Now, we do have customers that want to know who the heirs are.
You do.
If
Sure.
they've inherited the property, they may want to sell their portion. They
Yes.
may want to sell, maybe they're the sole heir. So that is a whole nother scenario, but we can provide that information. I do want Logan to get a chance to.
Yeah.
Logan, would you mind just unmuting and having a conversation real quick with Brad? Because you've been asking a few questions about prospecting and referring. So I'll let you
Right.
jump in real quick.
So my business is primarily investment sales, and out of that investment sales, most of it is multifamily investment sales, Class C multifamily properties. We used to operate the brokerage company throughout the Southeast United States. So we would like to develop a referral relationship or some sort of identifying. Our business has always been through cold calling, but we don't really have people that are trained cold callers in this type of business. So I'm trying to find the best resource or who would have a resource to cold
Like a
callers that are
network.
currently doing this. Yeah.
Logan, that's me.
All right, good.
Well, that is true. Brad, what would you suggest in this situation? How would you build trying to offer, pay for a referral and that type of situation?
Well, I mean, obviously getting the team of cold callers, whatever size that is, you got to figure out whether you want to do that in-house or outsource it. Right. And then I think from that perspective, you're going to have to do some additional analysis to narrow the list down more to determine these that are commercial specific. And honestly, that's going to be pretty hard because, a lot of these commercial properties are owned in entities, not necessarily, some of them are owned in individual names, but if they're owned by entities, you got more steps to figure out, okay, this decedent, were they a member or not of an entity? Is that even public record data? Some states it is, some states it
So I
isn't.
have, well, we use another third-party database that there's several that we use, CoStar and Reonomy, but
Yep.
and it has the entity manager. So
Right.
what and right now what we have is the address of the commercial property and potential heirs, which
Right.
doesn't really it's kind of a needle in a haystack, but we
Yeah,
could
I would agree.
cross-reference the commercial property that we know that there has been the previous owner is deceased, then
Mhm.
cross-reference that with our Reonomy. But it's the cold calling, it's not our cold calling where our experience lies, or we know who the decision maker is when
Right.
we're calling. In this case, it's some hunting around, and at least with the data that we have. So
I mean, the payday is probably, it's a needle in a haystack, but obviously your payday on a commercial
Right.
deal is significantly
Right.
higher than a single family residential
Sure.
deal. So might be worth it to dig into. That's kind of probably, I haven't really ventured into that. I do mention on my cards that I buy commercial properties, but I've only had like one or two people that are like, oh yeah, we have a or a, restaurant or whatever. It's like one little tiny retail. I'd love to get that. Oh, we have an apartment complex. We'd love to sell you too, but I haven't got one of those calls over the years yet. So
You'll get one, Brad. Put that
I
out in
will.
the universe. my
After
friend.
that, tomorrow I'll get one. Knock on
That's
wood.
it, man. You'll
So-
thank us tomorrow morning when it comes through.
That's right.
So Deb has a question about Brad on how do you handle someone that might be on the phone that gives you a nasty feedback or
Because you're gonna only get call-ins.
Oh, we always get nasty calls, especially when
Yeah.
they're like first getting mailed on the list. You know, that first, it's that early filing. Especially when we were cold calling those, like, you know, they just filed for probate like last month and we were cold calling them. And they're like, F you, why are you calling me? My dad just died.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to get that, right?
Yeah.
I've done this for so long. You just let it, and we've had some crazy people. We actually record some of the calls and we just kind of share them within my company. Like, oh, this lady's crazy. And, you know, in our text message stream, and maybe we'll get like subpoenaed one day and then we'll get humiliated in court for that or something. I don't know. But, you know, you're going to get crazy people. You can't, you just
It's
gotta let that roll
unavoidable.
off your back. Like,
Yeah, it is unavoidable.
Yeah.
It's a very sensitive subject.
It is.
So,
It can be.
yeah. All right. Well, it's quiet on the home front.
Any other questions, Laura?
No, let's keep moving. Let Brad
Let's keep moving.
continue, because we only have about 20 minutes left. So,
all right. So I'm gonna just I'm not gonna rush through this, but I mean, this is a generational wealth transfer that's happening now. The baby boomer generation is not getting any younger. That's where I mean, the wealth that's going to be being transferred in this country is just phenomenal, right? I'm at the tail end of the baby, show my age here, tail end of that generation myself. And so the wealth that's being passed on to current generations, future generations is enormous. And the PRs, that is your key contact. And there's no training for these folks, guys. They're kind of thrown into the role, either by the family members or however they come about. Having a local expert in the real estate arena that could also even recommend alternative things that they may or may not need. We've identified over 20 different types of things. They need help, right? Money may be owed on the taxes, you know, you got heirs demanding money, right? So a lot of these guys want to sell or need to sell quickly. But as Brad has said, sometimes it's a 1+ year process. So getting some of the older data, getting some of the older data. I've had one customer, actually, I think maybe two now. Anyway, they got 2 years worth. They've got the first 6 months from me and called me up within that first 30 days of getting the data and said, Jeff, this data is phenomenal. We want to do 2 years worth. Remember that customer, Laura? Ringing a bell? It was a New York customer. Anyway, so that definitely getting some older data from us can help. These local relationships, estate sale providers, junk removal. Brad, do you have relationships with any of these type of folks too?
All of them. Yeah. You have to be a resource to these people because and sometimes you have to offer, you got to gauge the situation. And sometimes it might not be wise to go straight for the kill on that first phone call.
Agreed.
It might
be
because
wise. You want to come off as, and this is how when I do my trainings and kind of coach clients, you want to just be that consultant, right? Yeah. So if you come across as a consulting role, yes, you want to sell the real estate, right? But they may not be ready today when you talk to them. But they got a house, they got to clean it out, right?
I can't tell you how many times, and actually a lot of our estate properties we buy them with stuff in them. And I would say probably 90% of the probate deals we buy it with all the junk, because the family goes in and they get the few things that they want to get out, and the rest of it is just junk in their mind and they don't want it. I just literally paid my junk removal guy like a couple hours ago on a probate deal we just bought a couple weeks ago. You know, that's just $2,900 in junk removal. That was a lighter job. He did one for me earlier. This was $10,000 in junk removal.
Seriously.
Brad, this kind of ties into Dennis. So he has an auction license.
Yep.
He's actually a previous customer of ours. So Dennis, if you'll unmute yourself, let's visit that topic real quick, and then we'll get on to kind of the blueprint that one of the questions is coming up. So go ahead.
So I have my auctioneer's license, and knowing that, how would you market the PRs and the lawyers right now? I do have one attorney. I pretty much he calls me his easy button. Yeah. So I go in and clean out the house. I also have a a franchise, We Buy Ugly Homes.
Yep.
So, and I flipped 50 houses in the last 3 years. So I go in and do little upgrades to get more money for the clients, do clean outs, pretty much the consultant. So the attorney really doesn't do anything, just passes it off to me, and then he signs off on stuff. And he strictly does stuff that's PR, so he's the decision maker. So,
sure.
And I have one other question. My sister passed away in 2015, and I have a picture of us where I shaved my head and have hers shaved. Do you think that would be something to put on a postcard? You know, saying that me understand probate.
I don't know about that, because you're only appealing to that small like group, or maybe like someone died of cancer or something. Like, I'm not sure I would, because that's what my son passed away from. He had brain cancer. And I don't know that I would do that. I don't really poke at the death a lot. I poke at my copy talks to the pain points that they might be going through, and how we're the solution to those pain points. Right.
Yeah.
So, and the junk stuff, like you said, like, yeah, being the easy button is do more of that. That's how we portray ourselves to the attorneys, to the sellers. I also, we launched something this year, and everyone runs their business differently. I call it my one price guarantee. There's a lot of investors who will go out and sort of bait and switch you, lock you up under contract. If they can't sell to your house, they're going to either terminate, renegotiate. I don't do that. I literally, if I put you under contract for a price and I'm wrong about it, I eat it. And guess how many times I've had to eat that? None. So like, I just don't put things under contract I'm not going to buy. So we put that in our messaging, that we actually close on deals, because there's a lot of investors that don't. They're just tie you up under contract. They try to wholesale it. They can't find a buyer. They're totally off on their numbers. They're going to come back and renegotiate you down 50 grand. And we educate people when they call us too on our leads. We say, look, you're probably getting a lot of postcards. You're probably getting a lot of offers. Just understand, look at the due diligence period in their contract. Look at, how long they're closed. If they're not closing in, 2 weeks or less, and you didn't ask for a 6-week close and they're proposing a 6-week close, tell them to pound sand. If you're a real investor, you should be closing on that deal in 2 weeks tops. There's no reason for you to close in 6 weeks unless you're wholesaling it.
Yeah, I get non-refundable deposits.
There you go.
Perfect.
So that is the way you can portray yourself to set yourself apart from everyone else and be that easy button. You're going to get the good deals. Like the one I just bought, the guy I bought it from, the one I just told you about, my junk removal guy. This guy was a former builder developer. I found out he lives like 2 miles down the road from me. And he inherited a house from his wife and his best friends that had no children. The house was deeded to them. And he was literally just giving the money to the church. Ironically, it's the same church that my grandfather was a deacon at. Small world, right? And so he was like, I don't want to mess with this. He said, I know I can keep it. There was no money owed on the house. It was paid for. He was literally giving all the money to the church. That was what the will said to do. And he was like, I don't want the stuff in it. I just want the easy button. And then after we completed the sale, he said, hey, oh, by the way, I'm a retired developer or whatever. I got a couple $1 million in the bank. I'd love to be one of your lenders on all these deals. So let's have a talk about that.
Love that.
So I've now got $2 million in private money to buy more deals now from him. I went and had breakfast with him recently, and we talked it over.
It's all about the relationship building, folks.
Yeah. Chelsea has asked about kind of a play-by-play. I know we're running out of time, but give us a real estate probate record and just a quick scenario of beginning to maybe towards the end, like how you begin the marketing, just a quick synopsis. And then also, guys, I had put on the chat, Probate House Guy is his YouTube. So Chelsea, that might also help.
There's some, I've done some content about that on there. So yeah, go check that out. But also, let's say a play-by-play. So I get the data from you once a month, Laura. And we take it and we start our scrubbing process, right? So we run it through. I actually delete anything that like has an apartment in there, because usually that's like if the decedent last address is like an apartment, more than likely they didn't own that property, lived in an apartment. I'd delete those out of there. There could be some in there that I'm deleting, but again, I don't have the time to scrub through all that, right? And then we go through and we delete all the previous solds. We compile our list. We segment our list based on distance, time on list, that sort of stuff. We order our mail pieces depending on where in that segment that they are. The postcards go out. They get dropped over a 2-week period. Calls come in. Missy on my team, who's worked for me for 8.5 years, answers the calls. She talks to everybody, gauges whether, sometimes she can immediately send them down the retail realtor kind of chute. Sometimes they're a completely unrealistic seller. We also have what we call the dog and pony show chute, where they are, we're fielding offers from multiple investors, and we go out and it's a dog and pony show, and there's 15 other people there, and there's a bidding war, and I tell them, no, I'm not even gonna make you an offer. Yeah. Good luck with that. See ya. I'm never gonna be your highest offer, and I don't play that game. She tries to field that out in the call up front. So we send them down the chute. The motivated ones get an appointment booked. I used to have an acquisitions manager for years. I had to fire him earlier this year. I'm doing acquisitions again. I hadn't done it for 5 years, but I'm doing it again. I actually like it. It's kind of cool meeting with sellers again. But I go out on the appointment, and it's just about being that real person, that real authentic person, being as honest and transparent as I can with them, being that advisor to offer, hey, I've given them, hey, you know what? You got a lot of junk here. Do you want to clean this out, or do you want us to clean this out? And then I'll give them my junk removal guy's number, or we'll say, or we'll buy it from you for this price. And you don't have to, you can just take your toothbrush, right? So it's just being that. And then there's a lot of follow-up, right? Because they're not maybe ready to sell today. So your follow-up game needs to be on point, and you need to be following up with these people. The one I just mentioned with the $2 million, that one ended up getting stuck in some litigation, and it was like 9 months before we actually, by the time I went and from when I looked at the property to when we actually closed, it was like 9 months. So wow. Your follow-up game has to be on point too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're going to be respectful of your time, Brad, because you said you got your dad coming in. You got
yep.
In about 10 minutes here. So,
yep.
Less than 10. So I'm going to say, Brad, thank you so very. This has been informative. I've learned a few new things. I hope everybody in this room has got.
Hey, real quick question.
Well, yeah, go for it, Laura.
So, would you recommend our customers or anyone that's listening to have a real estate license and use that?
I've had mine for 9 years. Some people say, especially as an investor, they say, don't get your real estate license because it's going to become a hindrance. In my opinion, if you're doing shady things where it's going to be a hindrance, you shouldn't be doing those things anyways. I've never found having my real estate license is a hindrance on what I do. It's just an extra bolt-on tool in my toolbox, right? And now I have a duty to disclose that I'm an agent to every person I work with. But nobody cares. They just want their house sold. That's all they care about. They don't care that they could care less whether you're an agent or not, right?
Yeah.
And then if you do get the listings and the retail leads, great. That's just icing on the cake. I obviously pay for my license fees and broker fees, more than enough every year based off of the referral leads I get. I've probably gotten $10,000 in referral commissions this year just off of leads that we refer out to other agents, So
awesome. Well, that is the end of the questions. So
again, Brad,
awesome.
Thank you so very much, my friend. We appreciate you taking some time out of your day. This has been, again, very informative, very beneficial webinar presentation. So I didn't get too much into the sales. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my calendar link in the chat. I'd love to be able to discuss data. Anybody who wants to get together with me to talk about the data, to talk about a call center. Yes, folks, I do own a call center. I don't promote it as much as I do for the data. So, but we're here to help you guys out. Brad has graciously, thankfully, given us some of his postcard templates. So anybody who makes a purchase with our company gets access to his postcards as well. Plus, I've got letter templates, call scripts. We actually provide kind of a free marketing pack that we send off to every single one of our customers, be it new or old. Especially if you're brand new, you've never ordered data from us ever, I'm going to give that to you. And we're working on a new ebook, right? Well, we should hopefully have it next week or so. It's going to be very, very useful information across the board. So that's coming down the pipe for our customers as well. Here, let me put in the chat. Does anybody else have any other questions? You can unmute yourself, kind of a quick little Q&A. And if not, I will call it a day because, again, Brad's got to go here in a couple minutes anyway. But that is my calendar. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Brad, so much.
Yes,
very,
very much
very
so, sir.
helpful.
You're
We
welcome.
really appreciate it.
All right,
Wish
so I'm
you the
putting
best.
my
Thank you,
contact
guys.
information onto the chat. Please put yourself on my calendar. I've got a BOGO offer, whereas you prepay for future month and you get the current month's data for free. I've got some other specials, dollar specials, older data down, even cheaper than that. So we would love to be able to be your go-to source for data, right? And I had a slideshow. We also have access to other types of data, not just probate. I can get divorce, pre-probate. Brad, you're waving.
Bye, Brad. Take care.
I appreciate you, sir. Oh, he's gone. All right, so I can put now that Brad has left the room, I will now put my sales hat on, guys, because we got a couple more minutes here, and then I will call it a day as well. So again, we would love to be your go-to source for data and marketing, right?
How about pre-foreclosures?
Pardon?
How about pre-foreclosures?
Yes, sir. We can get those. So, yeah, Laura, we provide that to John. John is pre-probate. No, we don't have anybody doing pre-probate.
I don't have anyone active at the moment. We do have several that get the pre-probates, divorce. We've had someone in North Carolina quite successful with code violations. And there's other data types. So
yeah, we've got
Jeff will be your go-to guy for that.
Yeah, pre-foreclosure, anything you guys need or want data-wise, I can help you get. Let's just put it like that. Again, my calendar is on there. I've got some great specials, folks. I've got historical data down to lowest price we've ever offered it for. I've got BOGO specials. I got a prepay option as well, whereas you prepay for 3 future months at a considerable discount. I've had a lot of people take advantage of that special lately. So love to be able to talk about your counties. Again, there's my calendar. There's my direct numbers. Call me anytime. Just not in the middle of the night, please. My wife would probably kick me out of my room. Jeff, we get a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning. Why is anyway? I jest, but anyway. Again, thank you, everybody.
We appreciate it.
Laura, I think we're about in. We have some people leaving the room. So everybody, thank you very, very much. Hey, interest rates just got a recent drop. So hopefully it's going to have that triple effect, and the interest rates for the mortgages will be coming down, and makes the housing more affordable. The rates have been too high for a while. We need to get those things down into that. Especially when the price of the value of homes is, anywhere from 200,000 to 500,000 plus. You start paying, 6-7% compared to 2. That's a huge difference. Anyway, with that being said, thank you everybody very much for coming in.
Hi guys.
Spending about an hour with us. Everybody have a good one. Again, there's my contact information. Everybody have a great day. Bye-bye now. See y'all.